Imagine for a second that you win the lottery.
Okay.
But I'm not talking about, Powerball. I'm not talking about scratch-offs.
Not that kind of lottery.
No, I'm talking about the love lottery.
Okay.
Imagine you have spent your entire life in the foster system.
Yeah.
You've been shuffled from house to house, feeling discarded, feeling like damaged goods.
And being told explicitly that you're unwanted.
Exactly. You have no roots, you have no money, and you have this deep-seated belief. I mean, a belief that's been burned into you by years of rejection, that you are just fundamentally unlovable.
Right.
And then out of nowhere, you meet him.
The Prince Charming archetype.
Exactly. You meet Connor Dalton. He's wealthy. He's incredibly kind. He's just completely obsessed with you. And, oh, yeah, his family owns a literal mountain.
Right.
Sounds perfect. Right?
That sounds like the plot of a Cinderella story, stripped down to its studs.
Yeah.
It is the absolute ultimate rescue fantasy.
It is.
But what we often forget about Cinderella stories, and what the book we're covering today, Killing Cold by Kate Ellis Marshall, understands perfectly, is that the prince's castle is usually a fortress.
That's a great way to put it.
And fortresses, well, they're designed to keep people in just as much as they're designed to keep enemies out.
That is the perfect setup for where we are going today. We are taking a serious deep dive into A Killing Cold.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the source material you sent over, this isn't just a romance that takes a sharp left turn.
No, not at all.
This is a psychological thriller that just dismantles the perfect boyfriend trope and really examines the architecture of trauma.
It's a text that demands we look at memory not as a recording device, but as a survival mechanism. We are following a protagonist, Theo Scott, who is entering the world of the Dalton family estate, Idlewood.
Idlewood. Even the name.
Right. And on the surface, it's a story about class anxiety and meeting the parents, that classic tension of using the wrong fork or saying the wrong thing.
All that social awkwardness.
Exactly. But deep down, it's a case study on repressed memory and the somatic markers of abuse.
Somatic markers. That's a term we see in the research notes.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean the body remembering what the mind has wiped clean.
Precisely. The central tension here is that Theo thinks her problem is that she doesn't belong at Idlewood. She thinks she's suffering from imposter syndrome.
She thinks she's a fraud.
She believes she is a fraud who has tricked this incredibly wealthy family into letting her in. But the reader, through all the narrative clues and the sensory details Marshall provides, we realize her problem is actually the opposite.
She belongs there too much.
Exactly. She has been to this place before.
So our mission today is to peel back those layers. We need to look at the class dynamics, the unreliable narrator mechanics, and this terrifying central mystery. What happens when the safe haven you've been running toward turns out to be the scene of the crime you've been running from?
It is a terrifying premise. Let's get into it.
Okay, so we have to start with our protagonist, Theo Scott. In many thrillers, the protagonist is sort of a blank slate for the reader to project onto. But Theo is. She's complicated. She's messy.
He is.
She is an unreliable narrator, but not in the Gone Girl way where she's maliciously plotting against us, the reader.
Yeah.
She's unreliable because she is broken.
She is a construct. That's the most fascinating part of her character profile, I think. Theo isn't her real name. It's not her birth name.
Right.
She was raised by the Scotts, and they were these strictly religious, deeply abusive foster parents who labeled her a wicked child. They called her Theodora Hosanna Scott as a form of bitter irony.
Gift from God, but they treated her like she was sent by the devil.
Mm-hmm. And that wicked child narrative is just so damaging. It's not just physical abuse, it's moral framing. It tells a child that their suffering isn't just unfortunate, it's deserved.
That it's their fault. It changes how you view your own soul.
It creates a fractured identity. Theo explicitly mentions trying on names like costumes, Miranda, Abigail, Evelyn. She was just looking for a skin that fit.
And she landed on Theo.
She settled on Theo because it felt like a shield. Short, strong. She has curated a version of herself to fit into Connor Dalton's world. She lies about her parents being dead.
Which is easier than the truth.
It's so much easier because the truth, that she's an estranged foster kid from what sounds like a religious cult, is just too messy for high society. It's too complicated.
It's a survival tactic. If you kill your history, it can't be used against you. It's cleaner to be an orphan than to be the daughter of fanatics. But there's one part of her history she literally etched onto her skin.
Yes, the tattoo.
The blackwork dragonfly.
This is such a crucial symbol. It's on her wrist, backed by 3 circles. And when Connor's mother, Rose, asks about it later on, Theo calls it a personal symbol.
But In her internal monologue, which is where we get the truth, she admits she doesn't know why she got it.
Not at all. She just felt a compulsion, a deep, unexplainable need to have it there.
That goes right back to your point about somatic memory. She branded herself with a symbol from a past she can't consciously remember. It's like leaving breadcrumbs for yourself, but you don't even know you're lost.
Exactly. It's a totem, a subconscious anchor. And that totem is about to collide with the environment. We need to talk about the setting, because in Gothic thrillers like this one, the house is basically a character.
Idlewood. Yeah, even the name sounds passive-aggressive. Idlewood. It implies stagnation. It's this sprawling, isolated estate in the middle of nowhere. Snow, silence, hemlock trees. Theo describes the silence as stifling, like the house is waiting.
It's an atmospheric pressure cooker. Kate Alice Marshall uses the setting to physically manifest Theo's isolation. You have the snow, which muffles sound and it hides tracks.
Hides everything.
You have the cathedral ceilings of the main lodge versus the luxury guest cabins scattered around. It's the panopticon effect, that feeling of being constantly watched even when you're alone.
Right.
The architecture itself is designed to make an outsider feel small.
And speaking of feeling small, let's talk about the inciting incident. The moment the genre flips from like a romantic ski trip to full-on survival horror happens on the drive up.
The deer.
The deer.
The buck. This scene is so masterfully written because it serves two functions. First, it's a jump scare. Connor swerves to avoid a buck running onto the road. But second, it's a Rorschach test for Theo.
Because the buck isn't just crossing the road, it's already been shot.
It has an arrow in its side. It's dying. Now think about how a neurotypical person, someone without significant trauma, would react to hitting a deer that is bleeding out.
You'd scream. You'd cry. You'd probably look away.
You'd turn away. Absolutely. But Theo gets out of the car. She is drawn to it. She describes a tightening in her spine. She focuses on the antlers, the polished prongs. It's almost hypnotic for her.
It triggers something in her. She doesn't seem scared. She seems fascinated.
She enters a state of hypervigilance. It's a classic trauma response. She sees a wounded animal, and instead of revulsion, she feels a kind of recognition.
And then the deer attacks.
It bellows, charges her, and runs off into the woods. It's this moment of just chaotic violence. And in the aftermath, we meet Mr. Vance.
The gamekeeper.
Yeah.
And this guy is straight out of central casting for Man You Do Not Want to Meet in the Woods.
He really is.
He's got the compound bow, the big black dog named Duchess.
Yeah.
And he looks at Theo with this immediate suspicion. Like he knows she doesn't belong.
Oh, like he knows she does belong. That's the other way to read it. Vance asks her if she's been there before. He seems to sense a familiarity in her.
Ah, that's a good point.
But that deer scene, it introduces the primary visual motif of the book, the antlered man. The deer represents the victim and the monster simultaneously. It is wounded, but it is also dangerous.
We'll get to the antlered man in a second because that nightmare is just terrifying. But we need to establish the threat level for Theo. It's not just vibes. It's not just a creepy gamekeeper. She is getting digital threats.
The texts. Stay away from Connor Dalton.
Right. And then, I know who you are.
And the worst one, I know what you did.
That last one, I know what you did, is so effective because it weaponizes her own guilt. Theo thinks she's guilty of being a fraud, of being that wicked child she was told she was.
So it validates her paranoia. She assumes the texter knows about her foster past or her lies about going to grad school.
Right, the small lies.
It distracts her from the possibility that what she did refers to something much, much older. It keeps her looking over her shoulder at all the wrong things.
She suspects romantic rivals. She suspects Connor's sister, Alexis.
Anyone but herself. She doesn't suspect her own childhood.
So she enters the Dalton stronghold on high alert. And honestly, the family is scarier than the texts. Let's break down the Daltons. This is a masterclass in toxic wealth.
It's so distinct from, new money flashing. The Daltons have old money, quietness. They don't talk about the cost of things because it's vulgar to them.
They just have them.
Right. Theo, conversely, is obsessed with price tags. She plays this mental game where she appraises items in the room. She looks at the red cashmere scarf Connor gave her.
She knows exactly how much it cost.
She knows it costs exactly $490, and she twists it anxiously.
And that detail stuck with me. $490 is a month of rent for some people. For Connor, it's just an accessory he bought without even looking at the price. Theo calls her clothes a costume. She's cosplaying as a Dalton.
And the family sees right through it. Or at least they test it. Take that first dinner scene. Grandma Louise Dalton, she's the matriarch.
She's terrifying.
She dissects Theo with surgical precision. She asks, "Who are your people? What do you do?"
And Theo cracks. She lies. She tells him she's saving up for grad school. Why does she do that? She has a job. She's an assistant manager at a bookstore. That's a respectable job.
Not in that dining room. In the context of the Daltons, bookstore manager reads as failure. It reads as working class.
Right.
The pressure to be worthy of Connor forces her to improvise a more acceptable ambition. It's heartbreaking because she is erasing her actual achievements to fit their hypothetical standards.
She's validating their classism by participating in it.
Exactly. And then there's Magnus, the grandfather. He's the patriarch archetype. He talks about hardness. He dismisses people who are soft.
Which is a direct jab at the family ghost. Liam Dalton, Connor's father.
The hero, the legend, the man everyone walks on eggshells around.
Connor talks about his dad like he was a Greek god who ascended to Olympus. He hero worships him.
But Magnus calls him soft. And later, Uncle Nick, the doctor, kind of the outsider in the family, he hints that Liam loved to be worshipped. We start to see this dissonance between the myth of Liam Dalton and the actual man.
And the official story of his death is so clean.
Very clean. He died in a roof fall at the lodge during a storm, a tragic, heroic accident trying to save the family home.
But later, Mr. Vance, the gamekeeper, he mentions the accident happened at the abandoned cabin, not the lodge.
The geography doesn't match this story.
It doesn't add up.
Exactly. The family narrative has cracks, and the other siblings are all navigating those cracks in their own different ways. You have Alexis, the sister.
Alexis means protector, Theo notes.
Yeah, she seems welcoming, she seems friendly, but she's hiding something.
She is. Theo finds photos in Alexis's suitcase. And they're not vacation pictures. They're photos of a battered woman. Severe bruising. Black eyes.
Which just raises the stakes immediately. Is Alexis a victim? Is she an abuser? Or is she documenting the family's crimes? It casts this deep shadow over her kindness.
It makes you question everything she does.
And then you have Trevor.
The black sheep. I hate him, but I also kind of respect him. He's the only one who isn't fake.
Trevor is the court jester archetype, the fool who speaks the truth.
Yes.
He's allowed to say these awful things because everyone dismisses him as a drunk or a cynic. He openly mocks Connor's hero worship of their father. He insinuates Theo is a gold digger. He's cruel, but he's the only one acknowledging the elephant in the room.
That this family is deeply, deeply dysfunctional.
And then you have Rose, the mother. Elegant, but so guarded. And she gives Theo this strange warning.
About prenup.
About prenups and protecting herself,
Yeah.
which hints at her own unhappy marriage to this sainted Liam.
So we have a house of liars, a dead hero with a shaky alibi, and a protagonist who feels like she's losing her mind.
Which brings us to the dreams, or rather, the nightmares.
The antlered man.
This is where the psychological horror just peaks. Theo dreams of a man with antlers sprouting from his temples, a red star, a dragonfly, and a command to scream.
It's so visceral. And Marshall does this brilliant thing where she bleeds the dream into reality. There's a scene, I call it the merger, where Theo looks at Connor. He's standing in the great room in front of a mounted deer head on the wall.
It's a visual trick. The perspective aligns so the antlers look like they are growing right out of Connor's head.
That is a massive, massive red flag waving in the wind. The man she loves is visually morphing into the monster of her trauma.
It's foreshadowing, of course, but it's also psychological association. Deep down, Theo's subconscious knows that Connor and the antlered man are linked.
She just can't see it yet.
She just can't consciously make the connection yet. The brain often protects us from truths we aren't ready to handle by encoding them in symbols. The deer, the antlers, the dragonfly.
But to survive this family, Theo has to prove she isn't prey. She has to prove she's not soft.
Right, and that brings us to the hunting scene. Magnus takes her to the shed to dress a deer.
This is an initiation rite. Explicitly, Magnus wants to see if the bookstore girl is squeamish. He wants to know if she has the stomach for the Dalton world.
And he fully assumes she will fail. He expects her to run out screaming.
And it is graphic. The book doesn't shy away from it. The guts, the steam rising in the cold, the smell of iron. And Theo, she doesn't flinch. She grabs the knife.
She dissociates. She taps into the skills she learned from her abusive foster father, Joseph. He was a hunter.
It's such a dark irony. The abuse she suffered as a child is the very thing that allows her to pass Magnus's test of hardness.
She proves she can handle blood. Magnus is impressed. He approves. He realizes she isn't soft.
Blood reveals. That's the theme. And that competence gives her the confidence to start snooping. She's been cooped up, but now she feels empowered.
And she sees footprints in the snow leading to a place that shouldn't exist.
The 5th cabin.
Right. The map shows 4 guest cabins. The family says there are 4, but the footprints lead to a 5th abandoned cabin called Dragonfly.
And this is where the coincidences stop being coincidences and start becoming evidence.
Yes.
The door knocker is a brass dragonfly.
Theo touches it and realizes it matches the ink on her wrist perfectly. Not just the insect, but the style, the geometry, the 3 circles behind it, everything.
She walks inside, and the olfactory memory hits her. Cedar and lavender.
Smells are the most direct path to memory in the brain, right?
Absolutely. The olfactory bulb has a direct line to the amygdala and the hippocampus, the centers for emotion and memory. It completely bypasses the logic centers of the brain.
So that smell hits Theo, and she is physically transported back in time. She goes upstairs and finds the daisy bed.
A child's room with daisy-patterned sheets. And she has this flash of a memory of counting flowers.
And then the smoking gun. She finds a photograph trapped behind a vanity mirror.
It's Liam Dalton, the family saint, and he's holding hands with a little girl. A girl in a pink coat holding a teddy bear with a red ribbon.
And Theo looks at this photo. She sees the girl, and she sees the birthmarks on the girl's neck. 2 distinct dots.
Her birthmarks.
The one she has on her own neck.
The realization is just shattering. Theo isn't a random orphan from Washington. She isn't just a foster kid who got lucky. She was here.
She was here.
She was that little girl. She knew Liam Dalton. She was Teddy.
Teddy. That nickname Uncle Nick asked her about earlier. He asked her, does anyone ever call you Teddy? And she thought it was so weird.
He knew. Or he suspected.
He absolutely suspected. But think about what this does to the genre of the story. This isn't a romance anymore. It's a tragedy. Theo didn't stumble into this family. Her entire life has been a boomerang arc returning her to this room.
And if she is the girl in the photo, then the woman she remembers from her fragmented dreams, the woman in the red scarf, was her mother.
And she was here too. Which means Theo is the product of a secret. A very dangerous secret.
And to get the details of that secret, she has to confront the darkest member of the family.
Trevor.
The encounter with Trevor and Elena.
This scene made me physically uncomfortable. Theo goes back to the cabin and she catches Trevor and the maid, Elena, in there. They're using this abandoned, creepy place for a hookup.
It's just so sordid. It strips away any glamour the Daltons might have had left. But after Elena leaves, Trevor decides to burn the whole house down, metaphorically.
He confirms everything. He tells Theo that Liam Dalton wasn't a saint. He was using that cabin to stash a mistress and her child for months.
A fuck buddy, Trevor calls her.
So crude.
But it cuts right through the mythology.
Yeah.
Liam was living a double life on the family estate, right under his wife's nose.
But notice how the conversation shifts. Trevor gets aggressive. He asks Theo if she's following him. Then he mocks her appearance. He says something like, people say pretty because they don't have a word for what you are. It's so unsettling.
It is.
And then he grabs her hand and he jams his lit cigarette into her palm.
That moment, it just shifted everything for me. Up until then, the threats were psychological. They were veiled. This is torture. He burns her.
It breaks the polite society veneer completely. It shows us that underneath the cashmere and the fancy dinner parties, the Daltons are capable of real animal cruelty.
And look at Theo's reaction. She takes it. She doesn't scream. She runs back to her cabin, bandages herself, and keeps going.
It's so sad because it shows how used to pain she is. Like, this is just another thing to endure.
But this revelation from Trevor, the fact that she was there, that her mother was there, it unlocks the scarf memory.
Right. She's always had this fuzzy memory of her mother wearing a red scarf. But in the newly surfaced memory, the scarf is blue.
This is a key discrepancy. She remembers running back to the cabin to get her bear, Teddy too. She remembers seeing her mother sitting on the ground in the snow, and the wind takes the scarf.
Implied dead or injured. Theo says she remembers the wind taking the scarf. It's fragmented, but it points to a tragedy. Her mother didn't just leave. Something terrible happened to her.
So what about the color change from red to blue?
Well, the leading theory in trauma analysis here is that the red scarf wasn't a scarf.
Oh, no.
It was blood.
God.
Her mind, as a small child, turned the trauma of seeing her mother's throat cut or some other terrible injury into a red scarf floating away on the wind. It's a dissociation mechanism. She literally colored over the memory to make it survivable.
That is unbelievably bleak. So we have a likely murder, a secret child, and a massive family cover-up. And standing right in the center of this is Connor, the perfect fiancé, the man who brought her here.
who, as it turns out, is the architect of the entire nightmare.
This betrayal is the hardest to swallow. Theo is desperate to believe Connor's innocent in all this. She wants him to be her savior.
Of course, he's her escape.
But she checks his phone. She looks at his old text to her friend Harper.
And she finds the receipts. Connor didn't meet Theo by accident at a party.
Yeah.
He saw her photograph at an art show.
The photo where she's topless and showing off the dragonfly tattoo?
Exactly. He saw the tattoo, he recognized the symbol, he hunted her down, he orchestrated their entire meeting.
He curated her. He brought her back to the mountain on purpose.
Think about the power dynamic. He knows, or at least strongly suspects, that she is the girl from the cabin. Whether he thinks she's his half-sister or just, some other part of his father's secret life, he knows.
And he brings her back to the scene of her mother's death. Why? Is it guilt? Is it a sick desire to possess the only remaining piece of his father?
It's so twisted. It recontextualizes every "I love you." It makes his love feel like captivity. He's not protecting her, he's keeping her. When he hugs her now, Theo says she feels like she's in a cage.
And someone knows she's figuring it all out. The box on the windowsill.
The final scene of our dive, the cliffhanger. Theo finds a gift-wrapped box on her windowsill in the middle of a snowstorm. Inside is a note. 4 words.
You shouldn't have come.
And the gift tag says, Dora.
Dora. A name she hasn't used since she was a child, since the abuse.
Mm.
Or maybe a name she used when she was Teddy.
That's the game. Who sent it? Was it Alexis trying to warn her? She has the photos of the battered woman. Maybe she knows the history of violence in her family and is trying to warn Theo away.
Or was it Trevor? He burned her hand. He clearly wants her gone. It's his style of cruelty.
Was it Nick, the uncle? He told her directly to stop digging into the past. Maybe this is a more forceful warning.
And this is the scariest option. Was it Connor? Is he playing some kind of sick, twisted game? I love you, but you shouldn't have come.
It forces Theo and the listener, really, to realize there is no safe harbor. She is trapped in a snowbound estate with a family of wolves, and the one person she thought was her shepherd might be the leader of the pack.
So let's look at the precipice we are standing on. Theo is engaged to a man who hunted her down like a deer. She is living in the house of the man who likely killed her mother.
Mm-hmm.
She has a repressed memory of a murder she witnessed as a child, and she has a bird on her hand and a target on her back.
It's the ultimate trapped room scenario. But what makes A Killing Cold so compelling isn't just the danger, it's the question of identity that it raises for Theo.
Right, she asks herself, is she the monster the Scots told her she was all those years ago?
She talks about the wicked child inside her, the one who steals, the one who lies, the one who survives.
And she's always been ashamed of that part of herself.
But maybe that wickedness, that survival instinct, is exactly what she needs right now. The Daltons are predators. Connor is the antlered man. If Theo is going to survive, she can't be the victim. She can't be the frightened little girl anymore.
She has to be the predator, too.
She has to bite back.
Exactly. She has to access the darkness she's been trying to hide her whole life.
I love that concept. It's not about becoming good. It's not about being redeemed. It's about becoming dangerous enough to survive.
And that brings us to a final, provocative thought to leave you with. We talk a lot about inheritance in stories like this. Inheriting millions of dollars, inheriting the estate, the company.
The material wealth.
Right. But A Killing Cold argues that there is a darker inheritance at play here.
What's that?
The inheritance of cruelty. Magnus taught his son to be hard. Liam, despite being soft, inflicted this unbelievable cruelty on his secret family. Trevor is physically abusive. Connor, well, we don't know yet what Connor is fully capable of, but he is deeply manipulative.
So the question is, can you inherit trauma and turn it into a weapon? Or does it just make you another link in the chain of violence?
Is Theo the only prey who knows how to hunt?
That is the question she has to answer if she wants to get off that mountain alive.
Man, Killing Cold?
Yeah.
It's heavy, it's dark, and it's just brilliant. If you haven't read it, well, you probably won't sleep well tonight anyway after this deep dive, but definitely pick it up.
Just maybe don't read it in a cabin in the woods.
Solid advice. And check your windowsills for unexpected packages. Yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you in the next deep dive.